Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Daily Shooter, and it looks like the votes of millions of people who wanted to see change in California just wasn't enough to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. So it looks like Newsom is going to stay in office until the next election at least. But it looks like a majority of the people in California, at least those who live in those coastal cities and counties, want to see everything that's happening in California remain the same. They like the median home price apparently being over $800,000. They like to see the homelessness. They like to see the infringement on First and Second Amendment rights. They want more of it. They want to keep him in office and keep things the way that they were. They like the status quo at this point. It just works for them. Unfortunately, that leaves millions of people completely disenfranchised in that state who feel that they have zero representation whatsoever. It kind of harkens back to the 1770s when the colonialists had no representation back in the King's Court. There was nobody there to represent them. The taxes were levied against them. New rules, laws, and regulations were levied against them, and they had no voice. They had no say in the matter because it was pretty much what the king wanted and what the King's Court wanted, and that was it. And once they made their decision, those new rules were enforced on the colonists, and they had no recourse about it whatsoever. And that's kind of what's going on in California. The liberal agenda is there. It's being pushed. It is controlled, up and down the state government. And those people that don't align with those principles, they have whatever laws, rules, and regulations and taxes forced upon them, even though it doesn't even kind of align with their way of thinking. It's really sad to see that has happened. And so those people that voted for the recall are essentially forgotten in that state. They don't have representation whatsoever. This whole thing was so that California could get back to a place where everyone is accepted, while at the same time government gets out of the way, right? Government is too much in the way in California. They have too much control over your everyday life, over what you do. And so having somebody in office in California that would kind of ease those regulations and kind of pull back on government and let people live their lives in the way that they see fit, that was what everybody was hoping for. And it unfortunately failed to happen. Now, over the past several days, I have been up in Montana visiting family up there, and it's so different. So I lived in California for 46 years, and the difference between, let's say, California when you're out and you're at public events or sporting events, things like that, and the way that it is in Montana really makes you realize what type of a culture shift there is in California. For instance, if you lived in California your whole life, you may not even realize what the culture really is out there. For instance, in Montana, I decided to go to a dirt track race. It was a nationals championship, and it was a ton of fun. But it was a dirt track race, and there was thousands of people in the grandstand, and they said the Pledge of Allegiance. They sang the national anthem. They did tributes to America and stuff like that. I mean, looking around and seeing all of the pride in our country. And so many people, really expressing their love for where we live and our core values, that, I mean, it was damn near enough to get a tear in your eye. That's kind of because you realize that you're around people who love America. They love the United States of America. In California, a lot of times you really just don't see that. You don't see it. What you do see in California is them removing the Pledge of Allegiance, them removing the word God from schools and things like that. And you see a lot of the move away from national pride and from religion in California. That's really what you saw, like this downward trend in those things. But then you get to a state that's more conservative and you see what people still feel like out there, and it gives you hope that there's still a way to save this country from that type of downward spiral. There's still good Americans out there. But it is very disheartening. It was very depressing to see. It was, it's hard to, I kind of expected it. Even though it was kind of hard to watch, I still kind of expected those results to be that way. It's just really hard to overpower in terms of votes that many people in California that believe the same way the California government does. It's just really hard to outnumber, counties that number in the millions and go all the way up the coast in such a big state. It's very difficult. So it was really disheartening to see. But I mean, like I said, in some way it was kind of expected. So there's obviously going to be another election coming up in 2022. So, he's going to have to, at some point he's going to have to debate. If somebody goes in there who's a conservative and, decides to challenge him for an actual election, not just a recall election, he's going to have to do debates, in which case he's going to have to answer to, the current situation. He avoided talking about his record completely. I don't think he ever talked about his record once at all. So he'll have to talk about his record. He'll be pressed about his record, hopefully, by somebody who runs against him, and then he'll have to answer to those things. And maybe that sways a little bit more people one way or the other, or maybe the candidates that are available sway people's thought process in one way or another. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in 2022 in that state. But I would just try and keep your head up, live your life, be the best citizen you can be the best person you can be the best American you can be, and you stand up and you live your values and your principles, and you do the best that you can do, and you do the best for your family. That's what you do. You wake up in the morning, you work hard, you come home, you take care of your family, and you make sure that, they understand what real America is and what real American values are. That's your job. So even though California is still blue, and even though Newsom is still in office, your life has to reflect your beliefs. And so again, you get up in the morning, you do that hard work, you take care of your family, and you do the best that you can do with that. So hopefully everybody can just hang in there, and, we just keep trying, right? No matter how many no's we get, we'll just still keep pushing forward, and we'll keep trying until we win or lose. Either way, we're going to do our best to make sure that California hopefully one day gets what it deserves. So I thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.